Hey there, it's Austin here, and today we're going to be taking a deep dive into the idea that the US dollar is losing its supremacy and that China is going to be taking over the world. As we know, the US dollar is the world reserve currency, and everybody buys oil in dollars. But recently, China established a partnership with Saudi Arabia to start trading and settling oil in Chinese yuan instead of the US dollar, aka the petrodollar. So this move is significant because the petrodollar is a fancy way of saying any dollars used for the trade of oil, and it has allowed the US to print more money without causing inflation. However, if the petrodollar system completely collapses, it could make products substantially more expensive around the entire world, causing imported inflation. And losing the petrodollar would be an incredible hit to the strength of the dollar. It could really result in the US losing its status as the world's reserve currency. But what does that mean for the US, and what does it mean for its citizens? Well, for starters, other countries will be less likely to hold our treasuries. When other countries hold our treasuries, they lower borrowing costs in America, making it cheaper for us to do business. They also make it cheaper for our government to finance policies, such as stimulus checks or new parks for your neighborhood. They keep our car rates down, our credit card rates down, and our mortgage rates down, and make it easier for us to trade with foreign countries and travel to foreign countries and spend our money there. The US dollar is a powerful tool for military efforts as well throughout the entire world. People want to be nice to America because we have the dollar. We have the power, we have the sanction power, we have the international power, we have the power everywhere. But if the dollar loses its supremacy, what happens next? Well, as you know, our politics have become so divisive. People care less about the community, patriotism, and having children, and the only thing they really care about is the money, okay? It's money. While we're seeing the petrodollar being faded away, we're also seeing the weakening of American military in the Middle East and potentially becoming kind of irrelevant in the Middle East. Out of the 78 times Americans were attacked in the Middle East since we withdrew from Afghanistan, the United States has only responded 3 times. That's it. 3 times. It's embarrassing, leading to more attacks because militants in the Middle East just don't care. And why would they if we only fight back 5% of the time? All of this is leading a lot of folks to wonder, is this the beginning of the end for America? If so, what could that do to America? I mean, for starters, it could mean the end of our status as a superpower. We could lose our ability to dictate the terms of our trade agreements and our ability to enforce sanctions. Our influence in the world could be greatly reduced and our economy would greatly suffer. So what about China? Are they really poised to take over the world? Well, they certainly seem to be on the rise. China has been experiencing rapid economic growth over the past few decades, and their GDP is projected to surpass that of the United States within the next few years. Additionally, China has been investing heavily in infrastructure, both domestically and abroad. They're building roads, bridges, airports, ports all over the world, and they're interested in renewable energy and other green technologies. Furthermore, China has been making moves to establish themselves as a global leader in technology. They've been investing in artificial intelligence, quantum computing, and 5G networks, among other areas. And they're actively working to develop their own technology companies to rival those in the West, aka the ones here, like Intel, AMD, and whatnot. They've also been expanding their military capabilities and inserting themselves more in the world, especially in the South China Sea. However, there are still significant challenges that China faces on its path to global domination. For one, their economy is still very heavily reliant on exports, which would mean a shift in global trade patterns or a slowdown in the demand for the markets could leave them very, very vulnerable. Additionally, the Chinese government is still an authoritarian regime. Its lack of transparency and human rights abuses make it difficult for them to gain the trust and respect of other nations. So to wrap things up, while the idea of the collapse of the US dollar and China's rise to domination is a compelling one, it's important to remember that there are many factors at play and that the future is always uncertain. The US still has many strengths, including a highly educated workforce, a dynamic economy, and a strong system of democratic institutions. And while China may be on the rising power, they still face many challenges and obstacles on the path to their global dominance. Ultimately, the only time will tell what will happen and what the future holds as these two superpowers in the world at large. If you found this brief explanation helpful, please give it a like and subscribe, and I will see you on the next one.